Who would you say that you've worked with, as an artist specifically, that had those qualities that maybe you learned from? Was there anybody that you felt, boy, this person's got it together. They really.
Well, people like Tommy LaPuma,
Yeah.
Al Schmidt, the great Frank Foster and Joe Newman. When I was playing with Joe Newman, these guys, they played the Basie Big Band.
Absolutely.
They were the thing.
That was the
when
core.
Joe Newman gave me, when I was playing in this big band, in the Jazz Interactions big band, I'm playing. And, my favorite drummer, I learned later, I didn't know it then, but my favorite big band drummer is Sonny Payne. And of course, he played with Sonny Payne.
Deep
now,
with Sonny, right?
Sonny Payne is like, oh my God. So Joe Newman gives me the chart. There's no drum chart. He gives me the first trumpet part. He says, that's what the drummers read.
Yeah.
It has all the hits. The first trumpet has all the hits of the thing. You read the first trumpet part. So that's that kind of stuff, Freddie Waits was a very influential mentor. When I first visited his home in the Village, he had a place that his son Nasheed still lives in, who's a great drummer as well.
Interesting.
And it was in West Beth. It's a complex for artists. And he had a duplex, all the apartments are duplex and everything. I'm like, it's in the Village. This is it, man. I'm in the West Village, this great apartment, and all artists. This is the life. This is it. This is what I want. So I was with this guy like all the time, and he was grooming me, and it was just great. And
how amazing.
It's just that kind of thing. Working with Sonny Rollins, having him mentor me for a long time. I played with him since I was basically a teenager.
Yeah.
Off and on for all of that time. But Sonny Rollins is not a nostalgic person.
Yeah.
He is always going forward.
Absolutely.
And here's a guy who not only, well, it's easy to say he's the greatest living player because that goes without saying, but he was legendary from like the 50s.
Yeah.
And when he decided that he was going to drop out and led to that sabbatical in which he practiced nonstop, which became a very famous part of his career.
Right.
When he left the scene.
Yeah.
That was because he said, look, man, all these cats are coming up, Coltrane and all these cats, and I got to get my act together. Yeah. So he was great. Everybody, now if he had rested on his laurels, he was, well, what do I need to practice? I'm Sonny Rollins.
Right.
He was like, he heard Train and all these, he
goosed him.
Man, I'm dropping out.
Yeah.
And he started, was the Manhattan Bridge or Brooklyn Bridge, whatever, practicing every night.
The bridge. Absolutely.
Shedding.
Yeah.
Like I said, I played with Sonny off and on for years and years. And the last time my last go round with Sonny, I hadn't played with him for a while. And I thought there was something missing musically from my life. I found I wasn't playing any jazz. I realized how important that music was to me. Wow. I'm very successful in all these other genres. Now, of course, let me just digress in saying that I don't play music in genres. Genres were created by marketers who were selling a product.
Absolutely, and the critics all came in to try to label this.
I don't look at music that way at all.
Yeah, wow.
Okay, at all. But it just so happens that I have been playing a lot of music that did not include this other part of my life. This all the same. And so some of the artists weren't, playing straight ahead, kind of thing. Yeah. And there was nobody I really wanted to play with. And then Sonny called. And he said, Steve, I'm going to tour. Are you available? And he was always busting my chops about, being like a famous rock guy and stuff. And I said, well, let me call you back. Let me see if I'm available. And not just available. I was nervous.
Yeah.
Could I cut it? I didn't know if I could cut playing with him. I didn't know if I could do it. And my wife Megan, who's a great songwriter, singer, and we have a band called The Verbs.
Yes.
And we you know, she's just tremendous in every aspect of life. And she saw me after the call, and she was like, "What do you mean you don't know if you could do it? What are you talking about? You better call him back and say you're going to do it." And I said, "Well, I don't know if I can cut it." She said, "You're going to call him back and say you're going to do it."
Yeah.
And then, so I called him back. I said I'm available, and then I went back into the woodshed.
Nice.
And so, for instance, there is the first jazz album. Well, there are two things. My dad, who, like I told you about, listening to music all the time, he said to me, like I was 8 years old, he said, "Okay, if you learn how to play Art Blakey's Blues March, you'll be able to play anything."
Oh, that's great advice.
Isn't that amazing?
That's great
Is
advice.
that unbelievable?
That really is very deep.
So, yeah, really deep, you know? And so he had, you know, of course he had the album, and he played the thing, and I learned Blues March. That was like the first thing I ever learned on the drums was Art Blakey's Blues March. And so I had that. That was in my DNA. That was always there. But the first jazz album that I really got into was Miles Davis' 7 Steps to Heaven. You know, and I used to just listen to that all the time. And I would practice that. Now, my yardstick to getting my goal, you know, you set goals for yourself.
Right.
So my goal was, Tony Williams played on that record, and he was only 17 years
Absolutely.
old when he played that.
Brilliant.
Which is like the most incredible drumming you'll ever hear.
Right,
And he was only 17.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
Nobody could believe it.
Yeah,
Nobody
yeah.
still can believe
Yeah,
it, that he
absolutely.
was just 17 years old. So my goal was to get somewhere by the time I was 17. That was what I was shooting for. Tony did that at 17. Okay, I got to get somewhere in that area. I might not make it at 17, but that's the goal.
What a huge push, man. That's really
my God, it's
serious.
insane, really, but that was the thing.
Oh, wow.
So now cutting back to this thing, I start listening. I went, okay, well, what are my influences? When I'm gonna play with Sonny, I have to go out. I have to kick some butt. I can't just be playing. I gotta throw down. I gotta freaking. Man, there are bad cats out there. There are cats all over the place.
Yeah.
You got Jeff Tain Watts. You got Willie Jones. You know, I'm not even talking about my heroes like Jack DeJohnette and everything.
Jack,
I mean, come on.
yeah.
So I go in, and I just start shedding because I want to get a sound. I don't like a lot of this playing where there's this playing for the sake of playing. The reason why Sonny Rollins called me because he liked my groove. And this is Sonny Rollins.
Yeah.
And he wants me because he likes my pocket, my groove. So I'm like, okay, great. So that is what he wants. So I have to now take that and enhance, but I don't have to play any superfluous kind of extracurricular crap to, you know, because that's not the way I want to play. That's not my thing. And that's not what he wants.
So you got to keep it. You got to keep the groove.
I got to
happening.
keep my groove.
You got to have some edge.
Right.
And you got to offer uniqueness.
Exactly.
And that's what you're going into this with.
Exactly.
That's really intense.
So I start listening. Now, so I go back and I listen to 7 Steps to Heaven again, the whole album. And I'm hearing stuff I never heard, you know, because when you have a great recording, it always lives. It unfolds
Year after year.
for the life of its existence.
Yeah.
So now I'm hearing stuff, and now I'm older. I'm hearing stuff that I didn't hear
Never
before
heard,
when
yeah,
I was
yeah.
10, 12, whatever. Now I'm hearing stuff like, whoa, wait a minute. And then I'm hearing stuff about that's phenomenal, and then I'm hearing stuff about that's not actually as good as I thought it was when I heard, all of that.
Right.
And I'm hearing stuff, oh, that's what that is now. Now I understand.
Right.
So I do that. Then I start listening. Then I dig into Sonny's kind of thing. And in his history,
Right.
and the great drummers he's played with, from Shelly Manne
Absolutely, man.
to Max Roach,
Yeah.
to and the main cat that he played with, besides Elvin, Philly Joe
was-
Jones.
Yeah, yeah,
Now,
yeah, yeah,
if you start
yeah.
at a certain point, so my age group, we went from Tony out, but there was
Right.
all this stuff that happened prior
Beforehand,
to Tony.
absolutely, man.
And so Philly Joe Jones actually set up the vocabulary to what Tony. Then Tony took it and
Absolutely,
did something else.
yeah.
Now, when I was a kid, I would stop in Frank Eppolito's drum shop. I was always in there, and
Yeah.
Frank loved me and let me hang out. And I would go in there, and I met Papa Joe Jones. He
I
would
took a
be
couple
sitting
lessons
there.
with Papa Joe Jones from Frank, absolutely,
Yeah,
from going up to the
you
store.
going
yeah,
up there,
yeah,
Papa Joe having
yeah.
his Heineken.
Yeah.
With Frank, so you meet all these legends. I met Buddy Rich. Buddy Rich up there. He said, I was playing Saturday Night Live at the time. He was like, and he liked me. But everybody, when you meet Buddy, you didn't know what you were going to get.
Big time, yeah,
And
yeah.
Buddy actually liked the way I played, and I was like, whoa, like unbelievable. This is incredible. It's like with meeting Don Rickles a year and a half ago. I was a musical director for the Don Rickles tribute on Spike Television. Put together a nice band, and the music was great that night. And I met Don afterwards, and he liked what I did. And it was like, whoa, Don Rickles, because your whole childhood you're thinking he's gonna slay you.
Absolutely. His manager is Tonio Pedisano.
Right.
Who was there and told me about that.
Oh,
That he had
okay.
spoken to you.
Yeah.
And I said, how great was that?
It was
And I saw
unbelievable.
the special, and you nailed it. It was great.
you.
All the guys that were there, that was a phenomenal event.
Yeah, it was really something.
Yeah.
And so it was that kind of thing. Don Rickles, Buddy Rich, the same kind of thing. Look out. So anyway, so getting back to the Philly Joe thing. So now I'm discovering, and then those records where, that one record where it's just Sonny and Philly Joe.
Right.
And now I'm hearing all this music. So now I go, okay, now I have to, now I'm honing in on a concept of how I'm going to play with Sonny.
Yeah.
Some of the Philly Joe thing. Then I started listening to a lot of Monk.
Thelonious, man.
And I started listening to Ben Riley. Now, Ben Riley, when I met Ben Riley at Jazz Interactions, he was one of the instructors.
Oh, interesting. Wow.
Yeah.
Well, look at
He
these
was kind
guys.
of a
These
grumpy
guys.
guy.
Grumpy,
He
but
was
I
a
mean,
little grumpy.
but he played.
Oh, but he was simple.
Yeah, yeah.
But he had a groove, he had a pocket.
yeah.
But I never appreciated him because I thought he was like a grumpy guy. You know what I mean? So I was like, yeah. Anyway, now I'm listening to him, and it's just phenomenal.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to take a little Ben Riley, a little Philly Joe, a little Max, but and trying to make it part of my
Your
thing.
thing, yeah.
And so that's how I went into this last Sonny thing. I went back into the woodshed and practiced and really tried to get better and grow in playing this music.
This is great.
And that's what you got to do.
Right.
You're never all the way there. You always can get
But
better.
you push yourself that way. It's not like someone else is pushing you, other than
You have to push
other than
yourself.
your wife making throwing you into the gig itself.
Right.
But I mean, the fact is, that's something which the younger generation really has to understand, that you are self-propelling your ability and your unused potential to discover and see. And the fact that you're pulling from Philly and you're pulling from Shelly Manne and you're pulling from that's amazing to pull it in.
Yeah.
Incredible.
And that you have to know yourself. You have to realize, you have to be honest with yourself. What are your shortcomings?
Right.
What can you improve upon?
Right.
I can improve upon. I can improve upon everything, really.
Yeah.
Quite frankly, where do I begin? But you take this one step at a time. So this is your next job. So boom. So that's what I had to work on.
Dom Famularo here, the Sessions panel. This is so exciting. Thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. Click the subscribe button to be a part of what we're doing. The views help us tremendously. All of your comments, we read them and react to them. This is incredible. The support you're giving us is great. The Sessions panel. We'll see you real soon.